bias,
News with no exception.
delivering nothing but the truth. Only here in Bad News. This is Nina Grace Gia,
And Janessa Quijano,
your studio
anchor for today.
serving you hottest and most leading news of the hour.
Your news,
Our business.
welcome to the #1 broadcasting station nationwide.
Bad News Channel.
For the headlines.
Special education experts highly recommend the use of diagnosed prescriptive evaluation approach.
Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder or ADHD, and attention deficit disorder causes excessive anxiety or inability to focus an individual.
DSM-4 gives the symptoms of ADHD.
ADD and ADHD is a complex condition.
Special education experts highly recommend the use of diagnosed prescriptive evaluation approach. Live at Laring, Misamis Occidental, Lovely reporting.
Special education experts highly recommend the use of the diagnostic prescriptive evaluation approach in teaching children with learning disabilities, as well as those with mental retardation. Hence, the result of assessment are used directly to draw up an individualized education plan. The long-term annual goals that the student can achieve are identified. Then the short-term quarterly objectives are prescribed. Monthly, weekly, and daily instructional plans are written to achieve the present goals and objectives of teaching. Formative and summative evaluation procedures are employed to track the mastery of the skills. Special education is specially designed instruction that addresses the unique needs of a student eligible to receive special education services. Special education is provided at no cost to parents and includes the related services a student needs to access his or her educational program.
Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder or ADHD, and Attention Deficit Disorder or ADD causes excessive anxiety or inability to focus an individual. For more details, Darilea reporting.
Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or also known as ADHD, is now the official medical term for the condition, regardless of whether a patient demonstrates symptoms of hyperactivity. Attention Deficit Disorder, or also known as ADD, is now the outdated term that is typically used to describe inattentive type of ADHD, which has symptoms including disorganization, lack of focus, and forgetfulness. These ADHD and ADD are common characteristics of children with learning disabilities. There is attention deficit when the child is unable to attend to as expected of his or her age and the grade level. Now, let's interview the mother of a children with disabilities. So, mayang buntag ma'am. So, isa po yung ngalan niyo, ma'am, o niya?
Ako, Ate Kim. Si
Right. So, pila po yung edad ni Yurag na?
12 na siya taon.
Na dayon, musta po diya, asa po di siya nag-eskwela ma'am? Kung musta po diyang pag-eskwela?
Nag-eskwela sa Mena Central School. Dahil yung kinanglan pa din siya po i-assess sa yung module class karon panahon na kinanglan pa din siya po guide or i-assess din siya kung saan mga pag-answer. Hindi man niya makasabot dahil sa
So, ano kailan niyo po siya ma'am?
Mag-get development naman sa panganak na ako sa una, pag-buntis na ako tungod sa high blood, taas ang high blood, stress pag tinalo ang panahon
So, unsa pa'y advice maingon nimo ma'am sa mga parents nga naay disability people nga anak? Advice maingon.
Kinahanglan gid siya i-guide ug maayo dayon suportahan siya, tubluan gid siya aron makasamot siya.
Marato mga salamat.
Salamat. Amor ko yan.
Children with learning disability is not easy to handle. So as an individual, we must understand them and not judge them easily. Instead, let's find ways on how to help them. This is Vet Reporter, Dara Lake.
DSM-4 gives the symptoms of ADHD. Here's Stephanie Pasco reporting.
The primary features of ADHD include inattention and hyperactive impulsive behavior. ADHD symptoms start before age 12, and in some children, they are noticeable as early as 3 years of age. ADHD symptoms can be mild, moderate, or severe and they may continue into adulthood. ADHD occurs more often in males than in females, and behaviors can be different in boys and girls. For example, boys may be more hyperactive and girls may be tend to be quietly inattentive. There are 3 subtypes of ADHD. First is predominantly inattentive. The majority of symptoms fall under inattention. A child who shows a pattern of inattention may often fail to pay close attention to details or make careless mistakes in schoolwork, have trouble staying focused in task or play, appear not to listen even when spoken to directly, have difficulty following through instructions and fail to finish schoolwork and chores, have trouble organizing tasks and activities, avoid or dislike tasks that require focused mental effort, such as homework, those items needed for tasks or activities, for example, toys, school assignments, and pencils. Be easily distracted. Forget to do some daily activities, such as forgetting to do chores. Second is predominantly hyperactive or impulsive. The majority of symptoms are hyperactive and impulsive. A child who shows a pattern of hyperactive and impulsive symptoms may offend, have difficulty staying seated in the classroom or in other situations, be on the go, in constant motion, run around or climb in situation when it's not appropriate, have trouble playing or doing an activity quietly, blurt out answers, interrupting the questioner, have difficulty waiting for his or her turn, interrupt on others' conversation, games, or activities. Third is combined. This is a mix of inattentive symptoms and hyperactive or impulsive symptoms. Stephanie reporting.
Beth News will be right back after a short break.
I took medication when I was a kid. Everyone said I would outgrow it, so I stopped taking the medication in college. Everything is so hard now.
I hate math. It's so boring. I know I'm bad at it, even though my teacher says I'm not.
I'm a failure. I can't remember to do homework, I lose things, I can't get anything right.
I hate feeling like I'm different, but I really am. Work seems like it's easy for everyone else.
These are the voices of people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. Millions of American children, teenagers, and adults experience this disorder, which makes it hard to concentrate, pay attention, organize, and focus. Their lives are complicated because of it. I know. one of these voices is mine. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 9. Most kids with ADHD start to struggle with symptoms even earlier than that. I first noticed my symptoms in school when we began doing projects that took planning, and I got frustrated a lot. Later, in middle school, I was on the basketball team, but I was always late to practice. Eventually, my teacher called my parents to talk about my grades, since I understood the material, but didn't turn things in on time. At that point, my parents, my coach, and my teacher all compared how things were going. And that's when my parents took me to see my pediatrician. ADHD can show up in 3 different types: inattentive, hyperactive impulsive, and combined. My symptoms were more of the inattentive type. I was having a lot of trouble losing things or forgetting things, not finishing homework, and organizing my work for projects and future assignments. My parents told me at first that they wondered if I had a hearing problem, because sometimes I would look like I didn't hear them when they talked to me. Other children also struggle to keep their attention in class, can look super distracted at home and school, and have trouble with details for things they're not interested in. Kids with more hyperactive or impulsive symptoms have trouble waiting for their turn. They might get up from their seats in class, run around when it's not a good time to do that, talk all the time, interrupt people, or blurt out answers. A lot of times, kids with ADHD can get into trouble, since the symptoms can look like they don't care or aren't respectful of others. But they do care. They just can't control it because of their problem with attention. While some people might have inattentive type and others have hyperactive impulsive type ADHD, still others might have symptoms of both, which is called combined type. If people show 6 symptoms from either of the first 2 types, or a combination of them adding to 6, they fit the diagnosis. While ADHD is most commonly diagnosed in kids, almost all of them continue to experience it as teenagers, and a majority still have symptoms as adults. Only some people grow out of it. The most important thing to know is that treatment for ADHD works. For little kids, this is behavior therapy that also includes their parents, so the whole family can be part of the solution. For school-aged kids and older, the best choice is medication or a combination of medication and therapy. I had behavior therapy where I learned some skills, like specific time management and organization techniques, that helped me in school and in my sport. I also took a stimulant medication that helped me focus my attention. Sometimes people find great help in non-stimulant medications, especially younger kids. For most people, ADHD medications really help focus and block out distractions. ADHD is a serious challenge for kids, teenagers, and adults who struggle to pay attention and focus in many parts of their lives. But there is hope. Treatment works. School wasn't easy for me, but with my therapy and medication, I learned what I needed to do to make it work. People go on to do well in school and succeed in their lives and careers, in spite of and because of their ADHD. I know. I did.
ADD and ADHD is a complex condition. Here is the news reporter, RB Dumpalis, reporting.
ADD or ADHD is a complex condition. So, these conditions may range from mild, moderate, severe to profound, and may range together with other disabilities. So, while there are observable symptoms and characteristics, many of the signs are not visible compared to an iceberg where only 1/8 can be seen in the surface of the ocean. So, most of the symptoms and characteristics are not observable and remain hidden in the person's behavior. So, do you find it hard to pay attention? Do you find yourself constantly interrupting others? So, in that case, or if these issues are ongoing and you feel that you are negatively impacting your daily life, so it could be sign of attention deficit and hyper hyperactivity disorder. So, ADHD is a disorder that makes it difficult for a person to pay attention, as I said, and control impulsive behavior also. So, he or she may also reckless, almost constantly active. So, ADHD is not just a childhood disorder. Remember that. It is not a childhood disorder. So, although the symptoms of ADHD begin childhood, and ADHD can continue through adolescence and to adulthood. So, even though hyperactivity tends to improve as a child becomes a teen, problems with inattention, disorganization, and poor impulse control often continue through the teen years and into childhood. By the way, I'm Arby Dumpales, live at Clarín Misamis Occidental. Back to you, Miss Gia.
Thank you, Arby. Live from Clarín Misamis Occidental.
And that's the news for today.
Janessa, we just got the hottest and the most leading news for today.
Meanwhile, it's only 1 month to end the second semester. Serving the Filipino people because you have the right to know. Beth reporter Janessa Quijano.
This is Beth reporter Nina Grace Gia. To God be all the glory.